Welcome again. So I have this lantern, which I am planning to turn into a greenhouse for some time, but not any greenhouse. I would like to turn this into a herbology classroom from Harry Potter, and there are two reasons for this. First is because I really like Harry Potter, and I played Hogwarts Legacy some time ago, and I really love this game. It's a masterpiece. And the second reason is that in real life, herbology is one of my main interests. So yeah. However, this project makes me a little bit anxious because it contains so many elements that I never did before. And I am afraid that it will take a lot of time, which I don't have. Okay, let's get started. The first thing I had to do was to remove the door. It was only held on by a few screws, so I didn't have any problems. I will keep the door. I will definitely use it someday. I also wanted to remove the glass from one of the walls, but it was more difficult because the glass was held in place by glued pieces of wood, and I had to remove them piece by piece with my pliers. Fortunately, I managed to remove the glass almost in one piece. Then I removed the dirty floor, which was covered in wax and dust, sanded everything down, and scraped off any larger debris. It's time to make a new floor. I used a piece of plywood for this. I thought a brick floor would be best. So I used a paper egg box. I cut thin strips from the flat part of the box and cut them into 2 cm pieces. Then I glued the bricks around the floor, then created this braid-like pattern. I painted the spaces between the bricks grey and the bricks orange, then added some details with a dry brush and sprayed it with black paint to give the floor a worn look from years of students' work. Next, I wanted to make a table with a built-in planter. Tables like these can be seen in the Hogwarts Legacy game. I used wooden leftover from removing the glass. I made a top from a piece of plywood and the planter's box from wooden popsicle sticks. I filled the box with hot glue, this way it will be more sturdy, and I will next fill it with soil mixed with glue. Now I will make shelves that I can later fill with gardening items. I am using wooden sticks and popsicle sticks for this. Oops, the magic didn't work, but at least the sticks got cut. I will connect them by 2 to make the shelves deeper. Time to make a water barrel. There's no garden or greenhouse without water, so there has to be water in my greenhouse too. I am using stir sticks for this. I tape them together and cut them evenly. Then I attach them to paper tape, keeping a very small gap between the sticks, because when the sticks touch each other, it's impossible to arrange them around a round shape. I glued the bottom and covered inside with glue to ensure the sticks would stay together. I also made a smaller bucket because I had some leftover sticks. Once they dried, I smoothed the edges with sandpaper. I painted them dark brown, added those fake metal hoops, and filled the inside with hot glue. While the glue was cooling down, I made the water tap. I drilled a hole in a piece of popsicle stick to which I would attach a tap composed of these elements. I painted it black and then copper. I added some fake nails and filled the barrels with a thin layer of resin and a bit of mica powder. I saw an idea somewhere to make running water from twisted food wrap. I don't know specific name for this product. It's just a very thin foil to use in the kitchen. I attached it to the tap with resin. From the same piece of foil I made a small disc, sealed it with resin and glued to the water surface. I hope this will create an illusion of a flowing water. It's time to make the bucket and the pots. I drew the largest circle I could fit on the paper, then another smaller one. After cutting off the circle, I cut off a triangle because I wanted to make a bucket out of it. I cut a strip as wide as the bucket's height and rolled it up so that it was narrower at the bottom and wider at the top. I added these metal thingies to the sides for attaching a handle and a wire handle itself. Then I glued the bucket to the piece of cardboard to make the bottom. I painted it green, added wash of dirty water, and finally a gloss varnish. I filled the bucket with hot glue and immediately sprinkled it with soil. And we have a finished bucket of garden soil. How do you like it? Time for the pots. I cut a piece of strip and found a paintbrush which is wider in one spot. I wrapped a piece of paper around the brush to create the effect of a pot widening upwards. Then I glued a thin strip on the top and glued the whole thing to a piece of cardboard to make a bottom. That left me with one pot. Let's see if I can make more with magic. It worked! We have a lot of pots painted orange. I filled one with hot glue and sprinkled it with soil to make it look like it had fallen off the table. I have some fake grass I bought a while ago, and I think it will be perfect for making headphones for transplanting mandrakes. I glued the grass to the cardboard and cut it out. Then I glued everything together with a piece of wire and a felt circles. When it dried, I painted it with dark brown paint. And in the same way, I made 3 pairs of headphones. One of the most important things for a gardener are gloves. I use them all the time in my garden, and I am going to make them from this green felt. I cut out the shape of a hand without a thumb. Then I cut out fingers and rounded them at the ends and glued the 2 layers together. Then cut out the thumb shape, removed the fibers with fire and glued it in place. Finally, I added a strip at the bottom of the glove. It turned out too big, so I repeated the same steps and made 2 smaller pairs and stained them a bit to make them look used. Since I had green felt on my desk, I will make a witch's hat. I cut out a circle and removed the center. Next, I cut out a triangle with a rounded bottom. I rolled it up and glued it with hot glue. I checked the fit, then glued the pieces together. To make the hat curved, I glued a piece of wire inside. I painted it a little brown to make it look worn. When it dried, I cut out a strip of leather and glued it to the hat. Time for gardening tools. You cannot work in the garden without a shovel and a rake. I used polymer clay for this. I cut out the shape of a shovel and then attached a piece of wooden stick to it. I made a small shovel the same way and then started making rakes. I decided it would be better to make the rakes from wire, which I bent so that it had 3 tines. Then wrapped the ends around a wooden handle and tightened them with pliers. After baking the shovels, I wanted to paint them, but I decided they would look better if I removed the excess clay. This would make the edges thin and more realistic. Then I painted the handles brown and the shovels and the rakes black and then silver. I also added some rust for details. This is what they look like. The next step is done. My first ever mini shovels. I think they're pretty nice. Time for the first magical plant. I don't know where the first video of making the mandrake went, but it's gone. I will tell you, I put aluminum potato in the pot and covered it with brown polymer clay. Then I started shaping the angry face. You can see the rest. I added a tiny nose, a lower lip, and roots that form arms wrapping around the pot. I made the leaves separately using brown wire and polymer clay. They are very simple to make. Once everything was baked, I glued them into the holes I prepared earlier. I made more mandrakes the same way, one regular one, one twin, and one that fell off the counter and out of the pot. Next plant I wanted to make was a devil's snare, but I remembered it hates light, so it cannot grow in a greenhouse. Instead, I will make Neville's cactus, Mimbletonia. I am going to use a miniature flower pot I once bought at a thrift store. First, I filled the pot with an aluminum potato, then covered it with green clay. I didn't like the idea of covering the cactus with a thin layer of clay and then with green balls, so I started over. I made a smaller shape out of foil and started covering it with clay balls. This way I achieved a better shape. Next, I made very small balls of light green clay and attached them with a ball tool. Then attached red balls on top of them and finally yellow ones. Now it's time for a plant I know from the game Hogwarts Legacy. It's a Venomous tentacula. I decided to make it in my planter/table. I made 2 wire bushes, then wrapped them with thinner wire to create more branches. Then I covered the bush with a thin layer of hot glue and painted brown. To make the leaves, I used a silicone mold. I pressed a ball of clay firmly with a ball tool, and I made them in various sizes. This is what they look like. I made a lot of them. Now it's time for the flowers, which are like mouths with teeth. I simply make them from a green clay circle. I am gluing a pink circle in the middle and then smaller, darker pink circle in the middle. Then I fold them in half, add some details with the ball tool and put in the teeth I had left from my previous project. Just in case, I wrap the bush with brown wire that has a paper coating. The leaves and mouths will stick better. And I just hot glued them all. Thanks for sticking around to the end of this overly long video. I hope it was interesting for you and that you will make your own Hogwarts greenhouse at home. As always, please subscribe, it's free and free is a fair price. If you can, leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up and we will see each other in the next video.